Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll call you up. We'll do it with you this time so you don't have to do it by yourself. But it'll you'll do it by yourself at your bar mitzvah. But for now, it'll be your chance to cut your teeth on doing it in front of people. All right. I don't have candles, but that's fine. I can light the candles, and he'll just do kiddush. Check, check. Yeah, you light the candles.
You're good.
Thank you. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom,
Max
everyone.
is here too?
It's like quite a show tonight.
Max, we're going to call you up. You'll do kiddush. Just practice doing kiddush. We'll all sing it together, but you'll get to go up in front of everybody and practice.
Yes,
Yeah.
you and Josh.
Does that sound good?
Good.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
I'll do a more formal welcome in a second, but we're going to begin page number 10, Hine Matov. Hine Matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Sing with us. Hine matov, hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Middle of that page, page 10. Heart's delight, source of mercy, draw your servant into your arms. I leap like a deer to stand in awe before you. Yedid nefesh. Yedid nefesh. nefesh avarachaman. Yedid nefesh avarachaman. Mishogavdecha. El ritzonecha. Mishogavdecha. Yananai el ritzonecha. Ya'arutz abdecha. Ya'arutz abdecha. Kemo aya. Yishtachave yananai el mul hadarecha. Yedid nefesh, sing with us. Yedid nefesh avarachaman. Yedid nefesh avarachaman. Mishogavdecha. El ritzonecha. Mishogavdecha. Yananai el ritzonecha. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
So we are a small but mighty group tonight. I guess everyone's saving up their energy for Purim to come, which is tomorrow night. We are going to begin formally on page number 2 with the lighting of the candles. But before we do, just a few announcements. The first is, if you need large print prayer books, they're available right as you walk in. Hearing assisted devices are in the office on the right. Should you need anything else tonight, we've got our usher, Diana Chipkin, who can help point you in the right direction. Bathrooms are outside to the right, though all gender and handicap accessible bathrooms are through the office toward the back. And if for some reason tonight we need an emergency exit, of course there's the exit we came in, but notice there's an exit here as well as those in the back. So with that, we're going to begin by lighting our candles. And it happens that tomorrow we have no B'nai Mitzvah. It's just a regular old service, help us make a minyan. But we happen to have 2 students who, within the course of the next really 2 months or so, both of them will become B'nai Mitzvah. And so I want to call Max and Josh up to lead with Ronnie as they kind of, for the first time ever, stand in front of a group of people and lead something in preparation for their B'nai Mitzvah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinhilanu zikaron lema'aseh Reshi ki hu yom tehila lemikraye kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim ki vanu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodecha Be'ahava uvratzon hinhaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
L'chaim. Yeah, you can. Ooh, that was a yum. Something that's liquid.
It's either wine or grape juice.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Good job, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Good job. There we go. Bodes well for a few weeks from now. So we're going to turn together in a moment. We're on page number 20 as we join together in the words of L'chadodi. L'chadodi li'ratala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabelai yairai l'chadodi li'ratala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabelai Shamor v'zahor v'tibor echad Yishmi'anu elam yuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad L'shemo tiferet v'litchila Let's hear you. L'chadodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat Nikabelai yairai l'chadodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat Nikabelai likrat Shabbat leruven elcha ki mikor haracha mirosh mikedem mesucha sof maaseh b'makshavat chila Let's hear you. L'chadodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabelai yairai l'chadodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabelai Verse number 5, Hitoreri 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 Kiva orek Uri Uri Shir daveri Kivod Adonai Alai Biklam L'chadodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat Nikabelai yairai l'chadodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat Nikabelai We rise together, verse 9. Boi v'shalom ateret Allah Gam b'simcha u'v'solam Toch emuneh am segula Boi kala Boi kala L'chadodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabelai yairai l'chadodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabelai yananai yananai nai yananai nai yananai nai nai yananai nai yananai yananai nai 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 yananai nai yananai nai 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 yananai nai yananai We remain standing. We're on page number 28. Together. We turn together to page 31. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and seasons glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows.
Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv ha'ravim.
Avat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, b'shobeinu u'bekumeinu, nasiach bechukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratcha, u'v'mitzvotecha, le'olam va'ed. Tihem chayenu, v'yorech yameinu, v'yorech yameinu, uvahem neged, yomam v'layla, yomam v'layla. V'yavatecha al tasir, mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shiftecha b'veitecha uvlektecha v'derech
ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We're on page 41. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect. The song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Sing with us.
כיפת אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מהחזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
We're on page 42, and I'll also invite you to turn your eyes to the screen.
Shomrei,
So in a moment, we're going to move forward into our silent Amidah, which can be found on page 46. And after this opening meditation, asking God to open up our lips, we'll move in silence through page 62. You can pray either the traditional words on the page or whatever words are in your heart as together we rise.
Adonai, Semfatayv Tivtach, Uviagid Tehilatecha. Adonai, Semfatayv Tivtach, Uviagid Tehilatecha.
Olam chesed yibaneh, Yananai, Yananai, Yananai.
Olam chesed yibaneh, Yananai, Yananai, Yananai.
Olam chesed yibaneh,
Yananai, Yananai, Yananai.
Olam chesed yibaneh,
Yananai, Yananai, Yananai. I will build this world from love. Yananai, Yananai, Yananai. And you will build this world from love. Yananai, Yananai, Yananai. And if we build this world from love,
22 on the bottom.
Ose shalom b'roma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel mehiru amen.
Let's hear you. Yananai, you clap your hands too. So as we do each week, we join together in a special prayer for Israel, a prayer penned by Hannah Ellenson, personal friends with our student rabbi, James Fader, and a prayer that, though not the traditional prayer, spells out all of the different tensions that we feel as we face and we love Israel. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, we ask that you bless the state of Israel and all of Israel's inhabitants. Makor Chaim, source of life, bless and strengthen those who defend the land and ensure their safe and speedy return home. Protect them and guide them. Kadosh Baruch Hu, holy and blessed one, show Israel's leaders your paths so they may act with wisdom, courage, and dedication, and that they may be unwavering in their pursuit of peace. Strengthen their hearts, but keep their hearts from hardening. Adonai Poked, God who remembers. There are more than 100 people currently being held in Gaza who are thought to be alive, including Oded Lipschitz, age 83, Guy Gilboa Dalal, 22, Eviatar David, 23, Nama Levi, 19, Bibin Joshi, 23, Eden Alexander, 19, Nathan Pong Pinta, 35, Shiri Bibas, 32, Yarden Bibas, 34, and their sons Ariel, 4, and Kafir, who just turned 1. Matira Surim, freer of captives, return all those who are kidnapped safe and sound to their homes, without the spilling of more innocent blood, without any more souls being tarnished by horrific acts. Baal Harachamim, master of compassion, help us hold the humanity and the heartache of the Jewish people, of all the residents of the state of Israel, while also holding the humanity and the dignity of the Palestinian people. As we are made in your image, remind us of your ways. Spread over us a shelter of peace and fulfill the vision of your prophets. They shall beat their swords into plowshares, their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation. They shall never again know war. Page 253.
So our hearts are still open. There's still room for more. Mishaberach avotenu v'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, ve'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah, hu yivarech et hakolim. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. Please offer the names. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit. And let us say, Amen. Mekor Abraham blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat shalom. So different parts of the Purim story hit you differently at different parts of the year. And this year, in a class that I teach once a month for actually those who are out-of-towners, we've got a bunch of members who have moved away but retained a certain kind of membership called the associate membership, where they belong to a different synagogue where they now live, but they retain their membership here. I do a class for them called Bible Stories You Didn't Learn in Hebrew School. And we deal with all of the most edgy stories, things, by the way, that would make Game of Thrones look tame. If you've ever read the end of the book of Judges, don't. But this week, I decided to concentrate on the parts of the Purim story that they may never have heard. The fact, for example, that Esther wasn't actually asked to be in a beauty contest to be the reason that she was chosen. But then we turned not to the sexual parts, but to the violent parts of the story. And what you find is that we often stop telling the story around chapter 8. But chapter 9 is really troubling. And this year, all the more so, it's hard to stomach. What happens is that after Haman's plot is foiled, the king basically hands the keys over to Mordecai. And he says to Mordecai, look, do what you want. Mordecai not only kills Haman and all of his children, but they attack a lot of Haman's followers in Shushan. And then they send word to all of the provinces to basically take up arms and for Jews to defend themselves and to attack all of those who might have gotten the decree and heard that decree and heeded that decree from Haman when he sent word far and wide that he wanted to destroy the Jews. And all in all, when the dust settles, 75,000 people are dead. That's chapter 9. And then we learn how to celebrate Purim. We learn that we're supposed to give to the poor and give gifts to our friends and eat festive meals and tell the story each year. Those are the 4 different main mitzvot of Purim. And the story pretty much ends there. A small postscript in chapter 10, and then we're done. But we never seem to really tell that part. Now, I know every once in a while we wrestle with it, and I'm not shy about wrestling with hard things. But this year it hits differently. Because, in a way, in self-defense, one has to wonder how many innocent people perished of that 75,000. And in Israel's rightful war of self-defense after October 7th, one does have to wonder how many people have been caught in that crossfire. It's hard to stomach. And this particular passage speaks a little too close to modernity, to current events for comfort. So I want to talk for a second about why that exists in light, actually, of October 7th and the post-period, the war in Gaza. Now, you likely have heard this from me or from someone else, but what the end of the Megillah really is, it is a revenge fantasy. And that's rightfully so. Imagine reading this at any time in Jewish history post-Persia. In fact, there was only 2 times after the story of Esther, where Jews actually did have the keys to the kingdom and were in control. About 75 years after the Maccabean revolt, before the Romans came in, and the past 75-ish plus years that has been the state of Israel. That's it. For 2,000 plus years, we've essentially had 150 years where Jews have been in control, which means that for most of Jewish history, we've actually learned how to be oppressed, how to be powerless, how not to be in control. That is the status quo. That is the norm, not the other way around. So imagine reading this story in 1096, when the First Crusade happened and the Christian armies marched through Jewish villages en route to liberate the Holy Land, completely sacking and destroying them. Purim rolls around and you imagine you might one day be powerful. Imagine reading this story in the year 1290, when you are made as British Jews to leave and to never come back until the 1600s because you are cast aside. Imagine reading this in the height of the Spanish Inquisition, and especially in 1492, when Ferdinand and Isabella unite their kingdom and kick out the Jews. Or 5 years later, in 1497, when the same thing is about to happen in Portugal. Jews are loaded onto a ship until King Alfonso II decides, you know what would be great? Let's actually not lose them. They're good merchants. Forcefully taking the Jews off the ship, waving his hands and saying, you are now Christian, and kicking off a period of crypto Jewry that lasts for generations and generations. Imagine hearing that story in the 1600s after the Khmelnytsky massacre, or the early 1900s after the Kishinev pogrom, or in the height of Nazi Germany. What would that do? Our society, by the way, loves a good revenge fantasy. I'm a big fan of Kill Bill. I love the John Wick movies. And what are those but imagining what it would be like to be all-powerful, to be able to walk into a room full of enemies and leave untouched. And that was the dream of the Jewish people, until we got a chance to do this experiment, which is called the State of Israel. Now, what did what did David Ben-Gurion, the first prime minister of Israel, write about on the eve, right before he declared independence in 1948, in May of 1948? He penned a word in his diary called mamlachtiyut, which means, it's hard to exactly translate, but it's the act of being state-like, meaning holding yourself to the standards that a country or a state should be. And his big fear was that Jews didn't know how to do it, that for thousands of years, Jews had not been in control. They'd learned to be the model minority. They'd learned to creep into the halls of power and then creep back out, because they would never actually occupy those halls in a real, authentic way. And his fear was that Israel wouldn't know how to do it. They have lost touch. The Jews had lost the muscle. It had atrophied of governorship. Now, why do I bring this up? Because I actually think we need to cut ourselves some slack here. Israel is a 75-year experiment in Jewish governorship. It is a 75-year experiment in Jewish power. It is a 75-year experiment in Jewish sovereignty. And unlike other nations that have gotten a crack at it for a while, we haven't. And unlike other nations that might be a new nation, but yet the people have within their DNA a sense that they have governed at some point, the Jews have not. This is new to us. And in the grand scheme of civilization, of Western civilization, of governorship in general, of democracies, we're only in our infancy. We haven't yet learned what to do. It's only in the modern era, when Jews finally have power, that we can kind of tisk chapter 9 of the Megillah. Because when we were powerless, it was a dream so far away. Why would we bother wasting time on it? But here we are learning and we are growing, which means that Israel may make missteps. It may make mistakes like any other nation. But we have to understand that it's just cutting its teeth on a new skill that it's never really had before. You may not know this, but the Bible was actually written by a group of powerless people. I just learned this in a really wonderful book by a scholar, Dr. Wright, who wrote a book basically called How the Bible Began. I just started reading it. And he talks about the fact that there were two kingdoms in Israel, if you know the history. After King Solomon died, there was infighting, and basically 10 of the tribes went to a northern kingdom and 2 of the tribes went to a southern kingdom. And eventually, that northern kingdom gets destroyed by the Assyrians. The southern kingdom only then, like a number of decades later, gets destroyed also, but by the Babylonians. And what happens is the southern kingdom loves to write about kings. The book of Samuel, the book of Kings, all are written by scribes in the southern kingdom. In the northern kingdom, they don't. And when they get destroyed by the Assyrians, some, by the way, get carted off to Assyria, but some end up powerless in the southern kingdom itself. And it's those northerners who pen, and I'm sorry if those who do believe that God wrote the Bible, I'm just representing scholarship here. It's those northerners who first pen the books of Genesis and Exodus. And if you notice, what's missing from Genesis and Exodus? Kings, power. In fact, God tells the sun and the moon to rule over us, not us to rule over us. God takes us out of Egypt because we shouldn't be ruled by Egyptians. God should be the King of Kings. What that means is that the whole nature of our sacred scripture is based around the reminder of powerlessness, not to have it. And so it's countercultural to do what Israel has done. But it doesn't make it any less miraculous, and it doesn't make it any less scary. And so as we read these stories, and they remind us of Israel, I want to really caution us against reading our story too far into the Bible and seeing the Bible as a celebration of what is necessarily happening right now. It speaks to a different milieu, but it also gives us a bit of comfort, knowing that our people didn't fully understand how power works, and therefore we are just learning. We are crawling. And hopefully one day we might run. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to turn to page 282 for Elena.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzot, velo samanu kamishpechot adama, shelo samchelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Our thoughts now turn to those who we've loved and who we've lost, As I call the name of your loved ones, I'll invite you to rise in your seat, honoring their memory. This Shabbat, we recall the legacy of Irma Klayman, Manis Cohen, Isidore Krasnopel, George Dinerstein, Louis Jurian, Joseph Eckstein, Senta Fox, Frida Friend, Fayette Gallen, Louis Gash, Ida Gelb, Glance Green, Blanca Grossman-Ova, Solomon Haas, Paul Hilowitz, Meta Hirsch, Sarah Hoffman, Benjamin Samuel Herwood, Michael Kahn, Ellie Kaplan, Sanford Kessler, Gloria Kirshner, Joseph Lanoff, Vera Lerner, Bess Leopold, Tess Malloy, Harry Nepo, Elias Olivas Melendez, David Prager, Stephen Rosen, Thomas Sadler, Herbert Schreiber, Sarah Seidel, Myron Selter, Bessie Solomon, Adrian Clem Taylor, Louis Weiss, James Wynn, Rini Zeisel, and those who are in their Shiva and Shloshim periods of mourning, Carolyn Cooperman, wife of Joel Cooperman, Cantor Pamela Siskin, Buzzy Klausner, uncle of Sarah Siegel, Janice Schechter, cousin of Adam Shapiro, and Bruce Serlin, husband of Naomi Serlin. I'll invite all those who are within their one-year period of mourning or who are observing a yard site that might not be on this list to please rise. We turn to page 294. And we rise together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'rechu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiram b'yama v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Please be seated. So a few announcements before we end. Tomorrow morning, services are at 10 a.m. We've got Torah study at 8:30. If you can help us to make a minyan tomorrow, it would be wonderful. We don't have a B'nai Mitzvah, and I assume many of you will be coming to the Purim Spiel that night. And so we just want to make sure that we've got the minyan for the morning. Purim Spiel is that night, 7 p.m. Come join us. It's going to be really great. I have seen pieces of the script and seen some of the acts, and it's always a wonderful time. It also happens to be Purim proper. Normally we do Purim, on the day of Purim, and we do the closest Saturday, but this time Purim actually falls on a Saturday night, so it makes it all the more important, and we'll weave a little bit of the Megillah reading in. And then the Purim Carnival is going to be that next morning as part of religious school around 11 a.m. to 1. Plug one particular event. We've got this series called Temple Talks that happen throughout the course of the year. Mikey Sherrill recently came. We're likely going to have both candidates for senator coming, both Democratic candidates coming before the primary. And on Thursday, we have Representative Josh Gottheimer coming, who's really like an important voice against anti-Semitism for Israel in the House. He's up in Bergen County, and we're really privileged that he's going to be coming and speaking. So please help us have a good showing for him, and he'll talk about all kinds of important things that are happening in Washington around Israel, anti-Semitism, and all of that. So with that, we're going to end tonight. We're on page 369. We haven't really had a Purim song yet. So we're going to end with Chag Purim. Again, page 369. Hag Purim, Hag Gadol HaYehudi, Masechot Rashanim, Zmerut Lerikudim. Havana Risha, Rash, Havana Risha, Rash, Havana Risha, Rash, Baharashani. So if that one was rusty to you because it's been a year, now it's not. Clear off the cobwebs and let's sing Hag Purim. Ready? Hag Purim, Hag Gadol HaYehudi, Masechot Rashanim, Zmerut Lerikudim. Havana Risha, Rash, Havana Risha, Rash, Havana Risha, Rash, Baharashani. I'll sing it like Amalia does. Purim Day, have a happy holiday. Wear a mask, wear a crown, dancing all around. Let's spin the groggers, rush. Let's spin the groggers, rush. Let's spin the groggers, rush, on this Purim day. In Hebrew, Hag Purim, Hag Gadol HaYehudi, Masechot Rashanim, Zmerut Lerikudim. Havana Risha, Rash, Havana Risha, Rash, Havana Risha, Rash, Baharashani. Thank you, Ed. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.